There was a young lady named Rose, who had a large wart on her nose. When she had it removed, her appearance improved, but her glasses slipped down to her toes. A mouse in her room woke Miss Dowd. She was frightened, it must be allowed. Soon a happy thought hit her. To scare off the critter, she sat up in bed and meowed. There was an old man with a beard, who said, "It is just as I feared. 2 owls and a hen, 4 crows and a wren, have all built their nests in my beard. A flea and a fly in a flue were imprisoned, so what could they do?" Said the fly, "Let us flee." "Let us fly," said the flea, and they flew through a flaw in the flue. There was a young lady from Leeds, who swallowed a packet of seeds. Now this sorry young lass, who is covered in grass, has all the tomatoes she needs. A circus performer named Brian once smiled as he rode on a lion. They came back from the ride, but with Brian inside, and the smile on the face of the lion. There was a young lady from Kent, whose nose was most awfully bent. She followed her nose, one day I suppose, and no one knows which way she went. There was an old man in a tree, whose whiskers were lovely to see, but the birds of the air plucked them perfectly bare to make themselves nests on that tree. There was a young lady of Hyde, who ate some green apples and died. The apples fermented inside the lamented, and made cider inside her insides. An ambitious young fellow named Matt tried to parachute using his hat. Folks below looked so small as he started to fall, they got bigger and splat. There once were 2 cats of Kilkenny. Each thought that was 1 cat too many. So they started to fight, and to scratch, and to bite. Now instead of 2 cats, there aren't any. There was a young lady whose bonnet came untied when the bird sat upon it. But she said, "I don't care. All the birds in the air are welcome to sit on my bonnet." There was an old man from Peru, who dreamed he was eating his shoe. He awoke one dark night from a terrible fright to discover his dream had come true. A painter who lived in Great Britain interrupted 2 girls with their knittin'. He said with a sigh, "That park bench, well, I just painted it right where you're sittin'." A canner, exceedingly canny, one morning remarked to his granny, "A canner can anything that he can, but a canner can't can a can he?" A tutor who tooted a flute tried to teach 2 young tutors to toot. Said the toot to the tutor, "Is it harder to toot or to tutor 2 tutors to toot?" There was an old fellow named Green, who grew so abnormally lean and flat and compressed that his back touched his chest, and sideways he couldn't be seen. A fancy young model named Jane, while walking, was caught in the rain. She ran, almost flew. Her complexion did too, and she reached home exceedingly plain. There was a young lady named May, who read a love story each day. "It's funny," she said, when at last she was wed. "I didn't think life was this way. I'd rather have fingers than toes. I'd rather have ears than a nose. And as for my hair, I'm glad it's all there. I'll be awfully sad when it goes." A cheerful old bear in the zoo could always find something to do. When it bored him, to walk to and fro, he reversed it and walked fro and to. The bottle of perfume that Willie sent was highly displeasing to Millicent. Her thanks were so cold. They quarreled, I'm told, 'bout that silly scent Willie sent Millicent. There was a young fellow called Marty, who invited his pals to a party. So exclusive and few were the friends that he knew, that no one was present but Marty. I bought a new vacuum today, plugged it in the usual way, switched it on, what a din! It sucked everything in. Now I'm homeless with no place to stay. There once was an old man of Esser, whose knowledge grew lesser and lesser. It at last grew so small he knew nothing at all, and now he's a college professor. Is it me or the nature of money that's odd and peculiar, funny, but when I have dough it goes quickly, and seeps out of my pockets like honey? There was an old person of Fratton who would go to church with his hat on. If I wake up, he said, with a hat on my head, I'll know that it hasn't been sat on. A motor mechanic named Fox got crushed between cylinder blocks. They laid him to rest in his boots and his vest, with his crowbar and jack in the box. An elderly man, Mr. Keith, mislaid his new set of false teeth. They'd been laid on a chair. He forgot they were there. He sat down and was bitten beneath. There once was a fly on the wall. I wonder why it didn't fall. Because its feet stuck? Or was it just luck? Or does gravity miss things so small? I need a front door for my hall. The replacement I bought was too tall. So I hacked it and chopped it and carefully lopped it. And now the dumb thing is too small.